Maybe I say bath with F's, bath, bath. But we live not far from Bath, so we should say bath, not bath. Bath, bath, bath. I can't say bath, bath, bath. Hey, welcome back to another episode of British Family Reacts. We are a British family on a little adventure to learn things all USA. And one of the favourite things that we like to react to is the legend that is Mr. Laurence Brown from Lost in the Pond. If you do like what you see today, then don't forget to like the video. And if you like it that much, then subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. So in today's video, I'm going to be reacting to Lost in the Pond, 11 words Americans love asking Brits to say. Enough of my jibber jabber. Let's go with the video.
Well, to be fair, that is what you get for interbreeding a dog with a cat. So, oh, hello, this is Laurence Brown with Lost in the Pond. Today, on this video, I'm going to be discussing some of those words that Americans so often get us Brits to say quite a lot. Now, just to be clear, before I go ahead, this is not a video about exclusively British words, but rather words that both Brits and Americans use, but that Americans somehow derive a great deal of humour from when they hear people like me, with my accent, saying them.
Like H. I know a lot of you love how we say H, or rather than love it, say, what the hell are you lot saying?
Basically, and any Brit that is watching this that has interacted with an American at any point in time will know this to be true. Americans very, very often like to say something along the lines of, I wish I could just stick you in the corner and listen to you speak. Which is not at all offensive. Now, the first word up here is squirrel, weirdly enough, and this suggestion comes from Stacey in Salt Spring Island, Canada. The word squirrel, I thought nothing of this pronunciation. I just assumed everybody said it pretty much like I do now. Squirrel, squirrel.
Squirrel. No, I think I say it differently. Squirrel.
And then I realised how Americans say it, and it's more like squirrel, which kind of sounds like you're pronouncing the word squirrel with a bunch of nuts in your mouth, which is what squirrels do, although they don't talk, so that wouldn't make any sense. So.
Squirrel.
Number 2 is mobile, which comes up a lot in conversations about the differences between British and American English, mainly because, of course, Americans use cell phones, British people use mobile phones, but that's not where the differences end. In fact, the main difference here in this particular word is the pronunciation of it, and I think that's why Americans are so ready to hear me say it, because I say mobile, as I said, but Americans, they like to say mobile when referring to things that move or to the phone itself. Unless you're down in Alabama where there's a city spelt exactly the same way, pronounced Mobile, and that
Mobile,
is why
Alabama.
This word makes my brain melt through my nose all the time.
Mobile.
True story, a few days ago I put out a video of me in the bath, and one of the comments after that was, how do you, Laurence, pronounce the word bath, even though they'd just seen the video in which I pronounced the word bath multiple times. As you can see, I say it as bath, not too dissimilar in fact to how most Americans would say it. I think they're expecting me to extend the A like a lot of people in the South do, but I'm from the North and we do things differently.
Now, they do things differently in the North, and because I am a true Southern girl, I say bath. Now, maybe I say bath with F's, bath, bath. But we live not far from Bath, so we should say bath, not bath. Bath, bath, bath. I can't say bath, bath, bath. I can't say it any differently because it sounds funny, or I have to put on a different accent.
In the North, you need to learn that, perhaps, if you care to. And so, I watching the look of disappointment on the face of the odd American, sometimes very odd American, as they ask me to pronounce this, is heartbreaking in many ways. I don't say bath, I say bath.
Bath.
But I imagine
Bath.
to all the sort of southern British people
Bath.
that get that question, it probably brings an ounce of glee to the American that hears it. So keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Well, if you like me saying bath, then give the video a like and let me know in the comments any other words that you think are funny, the way we pronounce them, or you like to listen to us say them.
Speaking of bath, you can't really have a bath without water, unless you're my cats. They do that all the time. And as you heard just there, I pronounce it, of course, water, just like most British people.
Water.
As I pointed out in my last video, the word water and my pronunciation of it can cause a lot of confusion, actually, particularly for waiters that are serving me, when they'll ask me, what do you want for drink? And I'll say, water. What? Water. What? Water. What? Water. Oh. Would you like lemon or lime with that, sir?
Mr. H has a similar story on this one where he was asking for water and they didn't understand him. But yes, we say water.
It's the more discerning Americans among you that stop me in the street if you recognise me. Still, nobody does. And you get me to say that very word until I literally cry all of the water out of my body.
Now, funny Laurence said that about people not recognising the street. We recently did a patron Zoom where Laurence Brown kindly attended as a little bit of a surprise. If you want to catch that one, we'll pop a little link up here and you can go and watch that live after this video. But yeah, Laurence actually does get noticed a lot now, and I wouldn't be surprised with 410,000 subscribers and counting. The man is a legend.
Thankfully, I don't drive, so I don't have to deal with this word all that often, and I don't own my own house, so I don't have an attached garage, as I would say. But you know what? Between you and me, this is actually one of those words that I think actually sounds a little less elegant when the British say it. Garage. I'm going to park the car in the garage. Americans do what Southerners in England do with the word bath. Bath. They extend the A. Garage. It's a mouthful, though, the way they say, isn't it? Because it's like, I'm going to park the car in the garage. Then I'm going to lift up the boot and the bonnet, and I'm going to check the windscreen to make sure that the indicator is working correctly. None of that made sense, but I just wanted to sort of convey what it would sound like if an American started talking about car stuff in British terminology. Ah, the classic tomato, tomato. You say tomato, I say tomato. Well, it's true, actually, yes. I do say tomato. Funny story, I was in Subway once, and I was ordering a sandwich, which is generally what you do in Subway. I think that the sandwich maker had worked out that I was English very early on in the sandwich making process. Probably actually before I even got to the cheese. But we got further down the line, and apparently the cogs were turning in her head. She knew. She was waiting. She was waiting for the moment that I got to tomato to hear me say it that way. But here's a bit of a twist. I'd been burned so many times on that word here with Americans that I'd actually reverted to saying tomato. Kind of like how with water I had to, I did that with tomato as well. So when it came time to tell her to put the tomato on my sandwich, I disappointed the crap out of her by saying tomato.
I say tomato.
She tried to charge me extra.
I would have.
Of course, there's so much more to that song, tomato, tomato. There's the second part where it says, you say potato, I say potato. I don't say potato. Who the hell says potato? I don't think anybody in the world says potato, except maybe a kid trying to learn how to say it. Even they wouldn't. That's too complex.
It's ridiculous.
That's stupid. Whoever wrote that song needs to really think about their linguistic choices in life. Vitamin is great because this is another one where there's like a couple of differences in there. Firstly, of course, there is the fact that I pronounce the T and most of you guys don't. You guys meaning Americans. I don't mean to generalize you, but I do. But the biggest difference here, of course, is how we pronounce the first I in the word. So as you heard right there, I would say which sounds like an embarrassing sex noise. Whereas Americans would say I. They're obsessed with I, it sounds like. I. And sticking with food-related stuff is the word herb. And as you heard just there, I pronounced it with an H at the beginning because there's an H there. That's probably something you should do. Although, to be fair, this is something that a lot of Americans may not know about us Brits. We often pronounce the word H as H. We put an H on the word H, which there isn't one actually, weirdly enough. This is getting all confusing. But it's herb. Herb. Although we don't pronounce the R in herb as Brits either.
Well, I'm very West Country and we pronounce our R, so I would say herb. 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 Herb.
Unless you're from the West Country.
Oh.
You might then. And you might drop the H.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Laurence is talking to me.
It was a nice herb that I put on my, I don't know, toast.
That's exactly how I sound.
Herbs on toast? What am I?
Posh
Next
toast.
up, right on schedule, is the word schedule. Now, I am often goaded into saying this word for Americans. It's quite embarrassing because not only do they giggle, but they tell me that I'm incorrect. And then I can't really rebut them on that. Because if you look at the word historically, it actually originates from Greek. And typically speaking, a lot of Greek loanwords that begin with SCH, like the word school, are pronounced sk. Schedule in this case, whereas it's words like schmaltz that came from German that get that kind of sh sound. So really, schedule. I think Americans, I'll give you this one, you win, but don't get used to it. Remember, you may have won the War of Independence, but we re-invaded you with the Beatles and Harry Potter and David Beckham and everything
Laurence
cool
Brown
from England. Me.
Yes, you.
Right? And finally, this word probably sums up this little fella who I love so much, is the word brilliant. I don't know why it is, but Americans really like to hear me say brilliant. When I was working as a supervisor once here in America for a company, I was presiding over hundreds of workers, and I often said that phrase. If they did a good job, I'm like, oh, that's brilliant. And they would giggle, and then they would come back to me the next day and ask me to say it again and again until we got no work done. It was the most unproductive time of my life. Where are you going, Kat? Oh, okay. Brilliant. But Americans don't really sort of say it any differently, really. I mean, I suppose sometimes they might not pronounce the T at the end. I think they just like the context in which I say it. I have heard Americans start to say it in that context, that something is amazingly good, that it's brilliant. But more often than not, I think Americans use it to mean that someone is brilliant, as in they're quite smart, a brilliance about them intellectually. But what I would advise right now, if you're watching this video, even if you just think my cat is cute and nothing else is really grabbing you, share this video right now with the words, "This is brilliant." This is brilliant. Just so that I can get a lot of views on this one. So.
I've got to say, I absolutely love Laurence Brown and I love reacting to his videos. Sometimes I actually forget that I'm actually meant to be filming something and I feel like I was just having a conversation with Laurence even though I wasn't. But like Laurence said, if you do like the video, then please don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. All that leaves me to say is take care, God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.